I think my favorite moment, and this is going to sound really weird, but one of my favorite moments for Bridgy Fed was when Eugen of Mastodon and Mike Masnick, who's a board member of Blue Sky, were arguing on between their AT Pro. Like Mike Masnick was using his Blue Sky account, Eugen was using his Mastodon account, and they were arguing back and forth about which protocol does one thing right, or like it was an argument about protocols, right? And I was like, I think I like messaged Ryan. I was like, I think we won.
Welcome, Fedi Friends, to episode 56 of Fireside Fedi. I'm your host, Ozoned. Fireside Fedi is a show about folks within the Fediverse. If you're hearing this, you are the Fediverse. My guests today are a part of a new social. You might know a new social from their technology, Bridgy Fed. Their mission, and I'll say this, I always want to say Bridge Fedi. So Bridgy Fed always trips me up a bit. Their mission is to liberate people's networks from their platforms, enabling the last network effect. And we're going to talk about that. And leveling the playing field across the open social web. With me is Anuj. I'm going to get your last name wrong, but I'm going to try. Ahooja.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Anuj is an engineering leader and writer dedicated to building a viable open social web. He's worked with organizations like Flipboard, WeDistribute, and sub.club, and is focused on delivering the last network effect. And then also with me is Ryan Barrett. Ryan is an engineering leader who spent over 2 decades building infrastructure, organizations, and open source social web projects like Bridgy Fed. He fell in love with the open web while writing HTML by hand in high school. Holy shit. Me too, dude. Then fell in love with tech as an intern at WebVan in 1999. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. And how would you like to be addressed?
Thank you so much for having us. My pronouns are he, him.
He, him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same. Yeah. Thanks for having us, Anthony. We're excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you guys. We had crossed paths earlier in the year at Fedi Forum, and again at the last Fedi Forum, where you guys are actively working on Bridgy Fed, which, as I said, we're gonna. That's the big thing, right? We're gonna talk about that. But before we get there, especially since in your corporate byline about how you started HTML and all the different things that you guys have done with Flipboard and WeDistribute, how did you get to where you're at today?
Ryan, go ahead. Okay, sure.
They're so courteous. They let the other one go.
Oh, we do this all the time, even in our one-on-ones. Yeah, I mean, how did I get started? I mean, similar to I think both of you, got on the internet at a pretty young age. I was very lucky to be in a family that was like pretty tech savvy. My dad's an engineer, my mom's in science, so like it was just always around, and so I was always on the computer. MySpace was obviously like a major starting point. And that trickled into a bunch of like forums for different interests that I had. And then those forums disappeared. And I was like, well, there go my communities. And that sucked. And then, I used Twitter for a while and it was fine. I wasn't a huge fan of it. And then Google Plus came around. And that was really my breaking point of like, this is it. Like, this is what social media should feel like.
Yes.
And then that shut down. And I was like, well, this sucks. Like every time I find a bunch of friends online, they all disappear on me and it's none of their fault, right? Like we are out of control. It is out of our control. And that was like Google Plus was around like when I was in college. And I think it shut down like shortly after I graduated. And so it was like, it was like a painful set of moments, right? Of like constantly losing. Vine was another example. I think that was like after college for me. I got pretty involved in a couple of like, it was just like a bunch of moments where it was like, why does social media keep making me lose my social life online, right? Like it shouldn't exist like this. But I also didn't have the knowledge or the terminology to figure out what to do with it. And then over time, I worked at a bunch of different organizations at Amazon, eventually made my way to Flipboard. And then this is where I kind of learned about the open protocols and kind of dove in deep and really tried to understand what that thing is. And I was like, oh, there's the solution to the pain that I've been feeling for all of these years. So that's kind of a long-winded way of saying, I did this for people. Like I found people, I lost people, and I'd like to not do that again, because I'm much more sensitive than I was when I was younger about my friendships. So I'd like to keep them for as long as possible, even if they're online.
No, as an adult, you're not constantly meeting new people, right? Like you're stuck in a job, your priority is to your family, your kids, and you don't get to meet a lot. So when you make those connections, they either stick, and that really matters to you, or you just see them at, like friends, families, school events, stuff like that. So no, I totally get that. That's amazing. Ryan, yourself?
Yeah, let's see. I can give maybe my open social web background. But yeah, it is a bit different from Anuja's. You can say I'm a reformed, stereotypical Silicon Valley tech bro. I think.
Thank God for reformed. Yeah.
Yeah. I love working with Anuj because he has a lot of the kind of vision and passion and drive for how this stuff can make the world better, and I love that too, but also I'm just an engineer, and protocols are these kind of Lego blocks that you can plug together in interesting new ways that weren't previously expected, more than the just APIs to closed social networks like Facebook or X or whatever. Protocols are really, there's this kind of infinite possibility like Lego blocks. And so yeah, there's a lot more I can talk about. My background, I kind of came up in the indie web community doing really old open social stuff like OStatus and Salmon, and but even before that. But yeah, I a lot of this is just kind of scratching my own itch. When Facebook first came out and I was in college, I liked it, but I immediately got the sense that, oh, this is a space that someone else controls. It's I can post on my account and it'll be fine, but
right
at the end of the day, I don't fully control this. And so I kind of, from the beginning on Facebook, I had a blog. I always posted what I wanted to post on my blog first, and then copied it into Facebook manually. And then I kept doing that for others. That was fine. And then I kept doing it for other sites, and it was fine. And I built some tools to kind of bring the comments back to my blog, and likes and reposts, that kind of thing. But later, when we got to more open protocols for this stuff, that was eye-opening in the sense that you had much more freedom and power to make stuff connect that without these gatekeepers. And so it's been fun, plugging these Lego blocks together. On the one hand, it is, the Lego part is fun. On the other hand, the other reason I love working with Anuj is, to some degree, like you were saying, Anuj, he's been part of these communities online. I've never really been a very online person. I never really got deep into online communities. GitHub is maybe the one counterexample, and even there, it's functional, it's work. It's not I'm there to hang out with people. I'm there to do work, And so
GitHub is Facebook for nerds.
Kind of, yeah. And the most apt part of it is you go there and you don't hang out with people. And so
yeah.
But yeah, and so on the one hand, I love plugging these protocol Lego blocks together. On the other hand, I don't live it, but I'm painfully aware that for other people, this is really important. This is their communities and social interaction, and a big important part of being with other people. And so, yeah, I think we feel this responsibility to not just have fun plugging Lego blocks together, but do right by the people we are serving and building this stuff for. And so, yeah, again, Anuj brings this kind of real experience and instinct to that I think I've learned, but I haven't quite lived in the same way.
Okay. No, but I think we all come to the same point of, and the best way that I've thought about equating this, everyone likes to equate this to email, right? You can run your own email server and it all connects and whatnot. I've started thinking about more of, these are our digital lives online, right? Where do our real lives exist? They exist in your house or your apartment or wherever you're currently living. And let's say, you own a house or you own an apartment or you rent an apartment. The Fediverse to me is, I can own my house if I choose, or I can rent an apartment and I don't have to worry about the giant company just walking into my apartment, taking pictures of my kids and saying, this is mine now, and walking out. And your community knows where you're at either way, right? And again, if they kick you out of that apartment, your community lost. So I think we all get to the same place in very interesting, unique ways. And I could tell that Ryan is definitely, as you mentioned, you weren't online a lot, but you love protocols. You're the like deep down, you'd rather get in the dirt code, it sounds like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys meet?
Yeah.
Online.
It was entertaining. So I built Bridgy Fed. I built some other similar tools, and they had some, small usage, like a lot of the indie web people. Built Bridgy Fed, and it grew slowly. And then Elon and Twitter happened, and it grew much faster. And so it got to enough people using it, enough people who like care about the space and are kind of have bigger profiles in the space were using it, and they started saying, hey, like this thing is important, we need to, what's the setup behind this, who's running it, we need to make sure this thing like keeps running and is run well and has governance. And I kept saying, I love the interest and the appreciation. Like this is one guy's side project, like there's no governance, there's nothing here, there's no, like, it's self-funded, like there's nothing,
Yes,
I don't disagree with you all, but it's got nothing, just so you know. It's just like this open source project that I pay for and run, If we wanted something bigger and better, we could do it. I got a day job. I'm doing this for fun. I'm not going to go drive the org stuff. So if someone else wanted to, fine. It's not me. Honestly, I kind of hope people would read that and just say, oh, I get it, and move on. Some people did. Other people said, oh, hey, that's me. I'm the guy to do the org stuff. Like, wow, shit.
Some of us sent him an essay over email. And we're like, hey, I think, do you mind if I kind of pick up where you left off there, Ryan? Because I think that's a good moment of like, he posted that. And when I read that, the expectation in my brain was what Ryan is saying, which was basically like, okay, Ryan's a cool guy. He built this really cool thing. He doesn't want this to be a bigger deal than it needs to be. I think some of us saw more potential in it, but I'd kind of taken it for what Ryan literally just said, which was like, oh, that's unfortunate. Like, yeah, it makes sense. But I actually think that there's more here. And I had a conversation with Mike McHugh from Flipboard. We talk every few months just to like catch up. And I mentioned Ryan's blog post. He mentioned Ryan's blog post to me too. And I was like, yeah, it's interesting. It's unfortunate. I think this could be some like pretty critical infrastructure for a lot of these like platforms. And he's like, hey, why don't you just talk to Ryan? And so we hopped on a call just like this one, right? We went back and forth, and eventually I sent him kind of a vision over email, which was, I think, a lot longer than he expected. And it was funny. I was actually on a trip with my partner in China. And on that trip, I was like in the middle of like stops. I was like writing this email to Ryan. And I was like, Ryan's going to look at this, think I'm crazy, right? Like, this is stupid. But he came back and he's like, hey, this actually sounds, I was like, he's going to think I'm insane. Like, this is some wild idea. And he was like,
but I love this because you're each holding the gun at each other's head. And you're basically like, you're not going to pull the trigger. Like, you're not going to pull the trigger. And you're like, let's do it. You're like, wait, what?
And eventually, I think via just going back and forth over email and like a couple other conversations we had, I think we both agreed that like, okay, yes, this is somewhat of a side project. Yes, it may not be something that every user is going to need, but there's going to be a broad set of users that need something like this and will find utility in it and will need it to exist in the long term, especially if their community spans across protocols, right? Like if I have created, right, like it goes back to that Google Plus thing of like, if I've created, if I'm on Mastodon, but I also have a huge number of people who are now following me on Blue Sky, Bridgy Fed shutting down is actually going to impact the way that my audience exists or my community exists. And so I think through conversations, we both kind of reached that thing. Around that same time, I was actually writing a blog post around like multi-protocol and multi-platform products and why I felt that they were super important in this moment. And so it all just kind of came together, right? And so, I mean, Ryan and I had interacted here and there before these conversations, but I think this was the first time we'd really talked about these problems in a much deeper way, and specifically around Bridgy Fed. And like, one of the things I brought up was what eventually became Bounce, which was like, I actually think there's more stuff you can do with this infrastructure. And so, yeah, I think a lot of those conversations came together, and we kind of aligned on a vision. And that vision
Wow.
has changed a lot, obviously, over the course of the time that we've worked together. But I think that initial vision really was like, okay, we have something here. It's not just governance. We can build more things from this. Let's just give it a shot and see what happens. And I think it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun over the last year doing this thing.
Well, and it's that, Ryan, I mean, I've been around the Linux and open source space long enough to know, like, we all laugh at the story, but that's how it happens, right? Like, some guys like, I just have this idea, and someone else is like, we can build a company around that. And you're like, what? No, I'm not doing that. And like, well, if someone else wants to, just like, I'm just going to subsist in my comfortable life that I have, and I'll work on this little thing every once in a while. Someone else can find something, and then someone's like, well, let's do it. And you're like, ah, shit.
Yep. I mean, both aw shit and holy crap, yeah. Like,
yeah, hell yeah.
Time, right? Like it wasn't. I wouldn't describe myself as like I was unhappy. There was a bunch. I was feeling a bunch of things all at once, and like there was a lot of excitement too.
I can't imagine, like, excitement on this thing that you created. So obviously you had a passion in creating it. Excitement in that you can continue working on what you were working on, maybe potentially more often. And there had to have been a lot of fear and anxiety, like, holy shit, am I actually doing this?
Yes and no. I think yes, in that it was just a bigger swing. It didn't. I think there wasn't a lot of downside. Worst case, like, it doesn't work out, I go back to doing it on the side and I'm self-funding it. And it's fine. So like it was mostly upside. And so yeah, there's
awesome.
Like once it was a lot of excitement.
I don't think you're as far along in the Silicon Valley tech boy reformed program as you think you are, because you're at a startup, man.
Right? Well,
kind of.
We have never found a business model for it. If you find one, please let us know, and maybe we will. But
yeah, I mean, that's actually something I want to nail down, right? Like, there was a reason we made this a nonprofit, because early on in our time, like we like, it wasn't a nonprofit in like we're gonna loop back from a nonprofit and figure out how to do this. It was can this be a business? And we actually talked to a lot of smart folks of like, is there something we can do here? And every single one was either, no, that's never going to work, or, oh, that makes me feel icky. Like, that actually sucks that we'd have to do it this way. And I think,
in a for-profit way you're referring to.
Yeah. Like it was like, we never nailed down a business model, or even a business model that like made sense or made us feel good about what we were doing. And that was honestly terrifying, because I think both of us have been in the for-profit world our whole career. Even as an intern, like in college, I was always in for-profit. So that's one thing that's been really hard and like to this day is very hard for me to figure out how to have the conversation of like, give me money, you get nothing back but good feelings, right? Like, it's a very weird conversation. But that was the thing of like, there's no business model here. We just got to figure out if people care about this thing. Turns out there's a lot of people that care, and luckily that's got us in a position where we're at least in a position where our expenses are paid off, and like, we're not throwing money at this thing anymore.
Excellent.
Which is nice, right? Like, we're not making salaries. We're still both working as full-time volunteers, but as far as our expenses, we're pretty good for the next while. But that was the thing, right? Of like the upside that Ryan's talking about is like, best case scenario is I get to work on this and I don't have to pay for it anymore. And we're there, but I think we can do better, and we can actually try and make this like a real organization where people are getting paid for their work, because there are other contributors and volunteers that work with us, and I'd love to see them paid. And obviously, like, Ryan's been working on Bridgy Fed and Bridgy for a long time, so I'd love to see him get something out of this as well. But that was the reason we went with nonprofit, is there's just like no good way to model this as a business.
Right. Well, and we're anyone on the Fediverse at this point is an idealist. Right. We're swinging big for a dream that we all want to be a part of. And if we don't make it, we all gave it our hell of a try. in every way we could, and we just can't figure it out, and that's fine. And I'm the same way, where the business I started, I decided it was a nonprofit because we've seen where this route leads. You know, I've talked to a lot of people as well, just regular people who've never heard of the Fediverse. And I said, how would you like it if you had your own social network and also your social network can connect to anyone else's? Everyone loves it. Every single one. But they don't have the time and energy in life to invest in something like that, right? And they definitely don't want to fall. Why would they go into the same thing that I already have? Doesn't make sense. But if you could sell it as a nonprofit, like, I'm not making profit. Yes, you can get paid. Most people don't realize this either, is you can take a salary at a nonprofit. You just can't, you have to take the profit and put it back into the company, or it's other projects. And that's why I went that way too, is like, if I can get my stuff funded, it will immediately go back into any of those projects that support me. The thing that you guys do right now, so you have a Bridgy Fed, which transitioned into Bounce, right?
No, Bounce is a new thing.
Okay, Bounce is a wholly new thing.
Yep.
Okay, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Anuj has been thinking about this for a long time, well before we started Anuj Social.
Yeah. Bounce is a new thing. It's obviously related. Like, we use Bridgy Fed in the process of a person bouncing today. It would be nice if there were other bridges and we could potentially use those as well. But right now it's Bridgy Fed. So it's Bridgy Fed is still infrastructure for Bounce, but Bounce itself I'd like to see it as a separate service altogether. And the goal there was basically this whole idea of, like, if you're multi-protocol, you should be able to move platforms regardless of what technology they live on, right? So if I'm on Mastodon and my community is split between, actually, this is a good example. On PixelFed, my community is actually 1/3 Blue Sky users, right? I'm bridged. 1/3 of the people that follow me are on Blue Sky, right? I don't have a huge following. Like, it's not thousands of people. It's like under 100, right? But
Yeah,
it's a good example of being multi-protocol, of, like, if the bridge went away, I'd lose 1/3 of my followers on PixelFed, right? That's not nothing. And so if one day there's something on the AT Proto side that does PixelFed better, I should be able to say, you know what, I'm actually going to move over there. I'm going to move all of my stuff, and I'm going to start using that without losing all of my PixelFed followers, and continue posting where I left off, kind of thing. And so the idea of Bounce was literally that, of, like, your technology choices should not impact, your community and the people that you interact with every single day.
full
on
open
these,
routes over separate languages. You are the interpreter.
right. It's the whole idea of, like, the Blue Sky credible exit, right? You should be able to leave this for something else, and your people should be there with you. Now, obviously, there's some lossiness in Bounce because not everyone is bridged, and there's that whole conversation that you have to have. But
Right.
I think if more and more platforms go multi-protocol, and we're starting to see that, right? Like, Bonfire's picking up Bridgy Fed. You're seeing a bunch of these platforms starting to understand the importance of that. And so the hope is,
Yes.
over time, a good chunk, if not your whole community, is multi-protocol, and it matters to you. And so the reason we built Bounce was, one, is, like, you should be able to keep your community and move things around. And two, to me, Bounce is also about the next thing, right? Like, with open social protocols or any social networking product, a lot of it has to do with that network effect. And so if there's a technology that solves these problems better than ActivityPub, AT-Proto, Nostr, or anything that exists today, I don't think that it should lose because not enough people are using it. I should be able to go to protocol Y while maintaining that community that I already have. Right. And so if I find a project that's on Nostr or Farcast or something else that, like, holy crap, this actually does all the things I want and then some, way better than Blue Sky or Mastodon or Bonfire or anything else, I should be able to click a few buttons, go over there, and still continue talking to the people that I care about. Right. And so that was the core reason we built Bounce. Is, like, it's not just about the communities that you have today. It's like, hey, the promise of this is I should be able to use anything and still be able to talk to anyone. Right. The whole thing is, should be able to post from anywhere, talk to anyone, and move at any time. And I think that the moment you have multiple protocols, that fails. And so we're trying to solve that problem with Bridgy Fed and Bounce. And Bounce specifically is solving that move at any time problem.
So, and this is really interesting because Ryan talking about Anuj having that vision of what's next, where to go. Like that's it right there. He's thinking on a level of not today, but right, like down the, and that is brilliant. And I love this because I hadn't even thought about that. I looked at it as this is my Fediverse. You're that blue sky. And then I found out about Bridgy Fed and it's like, okay, yeah, we can do, sure. Yeah. All right. I'll do that. And then like you are thinking of this level of a agnostic shim layer. You want to make it transparent to the people on top. We don't care who you're talking to. You should exist where you want to exist. And we should, it is the layer of interoperability because we were talking about how to make money. And you guys were at the last Fedi forum and can't remember his name now. Oh, Johannes. Johannes has that paper, right? About how Utah is pushing for what the hell's it called? The openness of all the platforms, essentially. You have to be open. And I mean, that seems like your guys' way in, right? We don't charge the people that actually need it the most. We charge the companies that need to get there with, so if Facebook came to you and said, we're not opening everything, but for you, we can do a business partnership. You're a nonprofit. We can give you money and you can help build us in. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, we don't build into platforms,
right?
Like you have to already be on a protocol for this thing to work.
Right.
And so, I mean, Threads exists, right? It's on ActivityPub, and we bridge Threads users already to Blue
But if
Sky,
they gave
right?
you like a special access API and said, do to us what you've done to them and make it transparent, would that be something you guys are interested in?
Probably not.
Okay.
I think a different way to look at it would be, if you're familiar with the Social Web Foundation, which is this nonprofit that Evan Perdomo and other people are at, that kind of like is for advancing and supporting the Fediverse. They've taken a donation from Meta, among donations from a number of other companies and orgs, and they're not really doing any work. All they're there to do is work with Meta and other companies on supporting like the Fediverse stuff, like the native, the true ActivityPub Fediverse stuff. And so, lots of futures. I think we would be less interested in using some special Meta API, but like we would talk to lots of companies who would say, I want to do Fediverse or I want to do AppProto.
Right. Yes.
And like, I want to work with you all and let me donate and then we'll work together. Like we would talk to Meta just like we'd talk to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think
a good example of that is AltStore, right? So AltStore built their social layer on the Fediverse.
Right.
And then they came to us and were like, hey, we did this stuff on ActivityPub. So for us, it was like basically no work, right? Like we were like, we're ready to go. We gave them tips on how to do custom domains and all this kind of stuff. So that the users on their instance look more native to Blue Sky. And that's the partnership we built, is like, they were basically like, we need Bridgy Fed to exist for the long term to support our social layer. We've done the legwork of building on a protocol that you guys have already tapped into. Can you do this other thing? And so this wasn't even like we're going to specifically support AltStore. It was AltStore wanted us to exist for the long term for their product.
Yeah.
And so they funded us for that reason, right? Like it wasn't
right.
No, it wasn't like a deal of like, you're going to do these things for us. And that's how I'd like to operate for the long term, is like, if you're giving us a special API that nobody else can use, like it doesn't make it, like, then we're not,
but
other bridges can't exist. Bounce can only exist on Bridgy. Like it doesn't make sense for us to operate that way.
This is amazing to me. Not just like, I understand where you're talking about now, but like, this is the open source model growing up and becoming big kids, in that they know they need you. And like, they're willing to make this code out there and available to everyone as long as they can do their thing on it. And I don't know, I look at it. So I am a open source nerd that absolutely loves open source that has been stuck in a corporate world forever. Like the closest to open source that I got was working for Red Hat, which is still a huge corporation. And whenever they needed a piece, right, they would just buy out whoever. And now you're trying to get teams that are trying to make this thing work that we're told that we have to work on to get it to work. And you guys literally are the open source, like, do one thing, do it well. We'll handle our part. You handle your part. And, you know, we know this takes money. Let's share.
Yeah, there's that, but there's also this other thing of, I think a lot of hesitancy from organizations right now to join the open social web is because they're like this whole like Blu-ray versus DVD situation of like, which one should I invest in? Which one should I work on?
Point. Yeah.
And frankly, they're all moving targets too, right? Like ActivityPub still has a lot of work to do. @Proto has a ton of work to do, right? Like they're not close to being done. And frankly, there may be someone else that does it first better, right? And so it's one of those things of, it also eases the stress of like, hey, which one do you believe in? Just invest in that. And then we or someone else can help you handle the other side, or the other sides rather. So it also helps people be like, you know what, I'm going to do this one thing and then I'm going to hand off the work. Otherwise, like, and there's already organizations, like Bonfire is a good example of this, right? Like they built an activity published platform, but they also understand how much is happening over there. Wayfern's a different kind of example where Gabo built that thing on ActivityPub, but he's like, man, Blue Sky is really cool. I wish I could talk to people there. And then he basically just built Blue Sky within, to some extent, he built it within Wafern itself. And so now when you sign up for Wafern, you get an ActivityPub actor and an AT Proto and an @Proto repo, right? And so you're both. So
one of my favorite examples of interop there, I'm going to interject.
Interoperability. That's what I was trying to think.
So Wafern is inspired by Tumblr, has a lot of those kinds of really vibrant communities. Like furries love Wafern. Gabo knows his community. Wafern added, instead of pokes, like from decades ago on Facebook, they added bites, which I love. And just the other day, I saw that a Blue Sky client, so like Gabo, like in the Blue Sky part of Wafern, like added bites, this custom bite thing. Doesn't show up on normal bsky.app, but was it Red Dwarf, Anuj? One of these Blue Sky clients added bite support. And so it's just like so open social web. Like you're on offer. You can bite someone on Blue Sky. Like it's not a post, it's not a reply, it's a bite. It's hilarious. I love it.
I don't know if I had heard of Wafern. I have now.
Oh, it's amazing. It's so cool.
This is why I love openness, open protocols, open source. Anyone can take it and do Wafern. I've never heard of this. And
good stuff.
And again, you guys are at the crossroads. You're making that easy for them, right? Easy. I mean, taking that
possible.
Wafern did it themselves, right?
Yeah.
So they're not using Bridgy Fed. They have their own it's
Bonfire
personal data server that, right? And so Bonfire, we're working directly with them. But the interesting thing about Wafern is they're essentially another bridge in this world. And so now, like, we're sitting down with them and figuring out, like, hey, these bridges are intersecting in weird ways. Let's solve that problem. And so it's funny, we're like creating like standards on top of like standards at this point.
Standards,
but
no way.
But right, like Wafern is also not the only other bridge. There's a bunch of other bridges out there that do like Nostred ActivityPub, Nostred AT, and whatnot. So it's like
bring it together.
Now we can all like figure out what multi-protocol looks like, and if Doobly-Doo 5 comes out and it's like another protocol that we have to worry about, we can kind of start inserting that stuff into this world and making sure that people can make that choice as well. So it's, man, it's super cool. There's a lot of, it's crazy to think like there's a lot of cool stuff happening in the protocol world, but it's just as cool. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff happening within, like in the middle of this stuff as well.
I'm calling it right now. We are looking at the beginning of a new open social web. We are. Because we are not one generation in. We are not 2 generations in. We are not 3 generations in. We're at 4 generations in of this thing. You have ActivityPub as the lowest base, right? Someone needed to pick that up. Mastodon's done a lot of work with that, but you need someone to interop with those other networks that aren't big enough. Okay, you guys exist. Now we're making it even easier for folks with things like Bonfire built on top of that. Now you really don't need to care which protocol it's on. We want a good front end for that. And that is, sorry, I know you guys have seen me at Fedi Forum. I'm just like this at Fedi Forum. At least I've been told. I get so excited about this stuff because I've seen this history written. And we, again, I'm a big passionate believer of this stuff.
Great. Love it. Go off, King.
Linux, I love how far it's come. It's in everything. You don't even know it's in everything. And that's the fucking point. You don't need to know, and it's everywhere. And we're getting there with the open social web. And that just massively, massively thrills me and excites me because I see it, both the web and with open source was freedom. I get to pick. Mm-hmm. I get to choose. If I want to exist there, I can. I don't care because it's, it was freedom to me. I could just take it and go. And it was taken away, right? The web was taken away, but we're taking it back. And that is so exciting to me. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, it is exciting. Yeah, no, I agree.
Mm-hmm. One thing I would add here, another angle, I think, on where we're coming from and why we push multi-protocol stuff. One is, the last network effect. You should be able to get with your people regardless of where they are.
Yeah.
Another is, I think there has been this sentiment from some people that Blue Sky comes along. Oh, you all are doing, and people look at Blue Sky and say, oh, you all are doing decentralized social with this protocol thing. But we already had one. We already had ActivityPub. Why are you pulling people away? Why are you fragmenting this group? We should all focus on ActivityPub, like Noster, Farcaster. Why are you all doing a different thing? We got ActivityPub. We really need people to focus together on ActivityPub. And
I remember those conversations.
I get that. If you feel like the big fight is the open stuff versus the big closed social networks, you say we need to all work together. I get it.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's no way in hell that we did ActivityPub 10 years ago, I will say also. 7, 8, 10. And it's done. It's perfect. It does everything we need to do. We figured it out. We're done. There's no way in hell. We already know a number of ways that ActivityPub needs to be better. And so I think we very much need people trying new things, very different ideas about protocol. How should people interact online?
Innovation.
And how technically, what should the plumbing underneath it look like? We're nowhere near done. We got to try new things. Sometimes we have to try big different things that you can't just evolve ActivityPub into. You got to try this weird other thing just to see how it goes, right? And so we need to support that and also still let people talk and hang out and not balkanize,
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to jump off of that because Ryan said something really good there, right? Of first of all, I actually don't think we're done. I don't think these are the last things. So that's super, and that's what I talked about with Bounce, right? Of there's going to be something else. And then I think we need to be ready for it. That's one thing. The other thing is, whether I'm at Fedicon or I'm at Atmosphere, or you look at some of the blog posts coming from the builders in this space, even folks from Blue Sky, they're being influenced by these other protocols, right? Almost, I want to say 75 to 80% of the conversations I had at Fedicon was, oh, I didn't know at Proto worked this way. Why can't we do it this way? And then we'd riff off that and solve the problem in a very ActivityPub way.
Oh my God.
And then be okay, let's try and figure that thing out. And the same thing happened at Atmosphere conference, where we'd sit down and be oh, I really like how this works in ActivityPub. How can we make that happen here? You look at a client like Red Dwarf, it's very ActivityPub coded, even though it works on App Proto. It's very ActivityPub coded, to a scary extent. And so it's, these things are influencing each other. They're making each other better. And I think what most people don't realize when they say oh, why don't we all just double down on this one protocol? It's these two things, while they are called protocols and they look similar from a user perspective, they're fundamentally built a different way. And those
It's
fundamental differences mean they're moving in different trajectories, even though they're still compatible with each other. And I think
right.
those fundamental differences in the way that they shape the networks and the way that they shape the user base are an important thing to learn right now. Because I do think, like, if you look at the atmosphere, the kind of people using and building in that world are very different from the people using and building ActivityPub. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the
Oh
fact
my
of like
God.
the way that they're architected and built and the way that they work, or even the way that they're governed. It influences the way that people are building these things. And I think that's like an important thing to
It,
notice and learn from before we kind of tumble down this whole idea of like, no, there should be only one protocol or one technology doing this stuff. Is no, we're learning a lot in this process of like, if you do it this way, this is how
yeah.
builders are going to build.
And and people don't realize that having those differences of opinion though end up in the entire network flourishing if it can all talk, right? And I think you guys made such an amazing point that like it really is not just a code thing, but Anuj, you pointed out that like these young kids are learning at this layer of this thing because our generation had to create the lower layer. Right now, they societally they see these different protocols online, and they're like, "Oh, I have a choice." Whereas, literally 5, 10 years ago, the message was, "Oh, there's a protocol to pick from. I didn't even know." And to think that's even an option in their mind is beautiful. Because we have become the mentors, right? Setting them up to make the next step to whatever it is they're going to build. And damn it, they can build whatever they want. And Facebook can't buy everyone. They can't buy innovation.
Right.
They're a corporate structure. They will buy after the innovation has succeeded, but they can't really innovate like all of these other little random people. We are really, this is, again, not even open source. This is the web. This is the original launch of the web was this way. Everyone could try something new. It burned up, it fizzled out. You move on to the next one because there's someone else that has another great idea. And you know what? That something else turned into Google. But we're hopefully passing down the lessons that we learned over the last 20 years. Just be very fucking careful.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's
And
exciting. That's great.
oh yeah. And some of it is new where we're in the kind of product design stuff where we're thinking a lot very deliberately about like how do we design software for people to interact with each other online, right? Like
Which is
on the one hand, like the web, open source, Linux, Usenet, email all paved the way for this, but most of them like didn't have really experienced kind of UX designers and socially conscious people and ethnographers saying like how do people interact well and poorly, how do we support the pro-social stuff and like push down the anti-social stuff. That's newer-ish, email. Like when they put together email, they didn't say, oh, people who top post like talk like this, people who inline post talk like this, we need to really work through that. They were saying no, it's like how do we make the bits connect, right?
I know you probably want to hear what happened next on the show, but the following section is only available on the Fediverse. These uploads to big tech platforms such as YouTube, they're just to spread awareness about the Fedi. They were never supposed to be the official way for you to watch the show anyway. So go on and get the full episode on video.firesidefedi.live. It is absolutely free. Just a different website. This video will now continue from a bit later in the conversation.
Yeah, I think I could phrase it a different way, or another way. We see ourselves as kind of network infrastructure, right?
Right. This is interesting.
And we are still working our way through exactly how to fund that.
Yes.
We do not have like big new innovative ideas on funding ourselves. We're working on it. It's so far we have not said, oh yeah, everyone who uses us should pay us, or either like flat fee or like per relationship.
Right. Then you get in a place of power where everyone feels required to do it, and you don't want to be there.
It's complicated. And also you look at other networks like Nostr or Farcaster that are much more, where the culture is much more like cryptocurrency focused, and they have on the one hand they have like way more advanced payment rails. So Zaps on Nostr, and I forgot the term on Farcaster, but it is built in and trivial to just like pay another user just arbitrarily, or like tip them for a post or subscribe, and all this stuff that's really built in a way that the Fediverse, Blue Sky, arguably even the web don't have built-in standardized, which like is really useful.
Yes.
But
I literally,
for streamers, influencers, it's useful.
I was literally talking to a woman that, as she puts it, she just wants to draw tits and ass, and she can't get money for her artwork. Like she makes a manga. Yep. Who the hell decides that? And like Nostr would solve a huge problem for her.
It's interesting. Like it would give her the tool. Yeah, it would help a ton. But then also, though, there has also grown up this culture there that like everyone on those networks should be thinking about, oh, like I'm posting stuff that people like, therefore I should get some compensation for it. It should be like valued and
monetized thoughts.
Yeah, I don't have like good vision or like really like deep thinking here for this part. I just know that like I want to be able to go post stuff and have my friends see it. Right. I don't want money to be involved there. That just makes it feel icky and not what I want. I'm not a streamer. I'm not an influencer. I'm not making a living from like posting. I'm just like talking to my friends online.
No, and I
don't personally want money in there for my stuff. And yet, like these payment rails are really useful for streamers, etc. And so, like I don't know the balance there. Anuj may have smarter things to say there.
I don't.
No, that's
like, just to be very honest, I don't have a solution there or a strong opinion on that. I think being paid for microblogs specifically is kind of a weird. Like I personally haven't been able to wrap my head around that. But like longer blog posts or video creators, musicians, artists. I think the rails have to exist for them because that's labor, right?
Yeah,
I don't consider microblogging as hard labor. It's not that microblogging isn't difficult to do well, right? Like it's very clear that some people are very good at microblogging, and like I think that there's something to be said there. But I also think there's like, when you talk about like a musician posting their music on Bandcamp, right? Like, is that Bandcamp, right? Yeah. Is that
Bandwagon? Well, the open source one is Bandwagon.
Bandcamp. There's one on at Proto now as well. Like, I think the rails need to exist for those situations of I have done this work. I'm distributing my creative work out. And so the rails need to exist there. The moment you get into like, I've hidden my 300 character post until you pay me $1 is like this really weird extractive thing. But I'm also not a great microblogger either, so I don't know.
No.
I see it for stand-up comics, like people who are extra good at like that. Yeah,
but to me, that's like,
do it, fine.
Even for stand-up comics, it's like their microblogs are a pipeline into their harder, more concrete work, right? Is the way that I
have no idea. I have no idea.
Again, I might be wrong.
This is an excellent point. I always look at it from an aspect of like Mastodon. I'm on GoToSocial, but that microblog type thing. But I need to start thinking it as a content creator. Like that matters. Knowing that you could have the security to move when a political influence affects a company or something like that. Sorry, I went way down a rabbit hole here. This is fascinating though. This is amazing.
Yeah. I think there are lots of these big questions for the space as a whole, and like often we don't have big answers. Like
But-
occasionally we do. We got a few like really clear big ideas, and we can follow those. And
But as you said, this is all happening in the open, and you're seeing this, and you're getting ideas, and you're impacted from them and you. And it goes all the way back to, you said, we're having these fights on which protocol to choose, right? And most people don't understand that, like, again, I always talk about this, but Linux, like, why did you need Linux? Because there's BSD. Well, we're not at that level anymore. Now, why did you make Red Hat instead of Ubuntu? Right? Because we already have Debian versus RHEL, right? Oh, okay. Well, now we're one level up. And now it's like Steam Machine. Oh, I know that. Or Android. I know that. Like, we are so many levels up that just blows my mind and excites me.
That said, though, right? Like, even with Linux, whether you're on like Debian or RHEL or whatever,
Right.
they kind of solved that problem, like using things like Flatpak, and like I think the community kind of slowly. I think I'm going to get yelled at for saying Flatpak by some people, but like
I like Flatpaks.
I love it, right? Like it's one of those things of like, I think kind of like how Bridgy Fed was like one guy built it as a community member or someone.
I wonder if we know him.
Whatever, right? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can pull him on this call. In the same, like, I always think that the community like figures that part out of like, oh, now there's 13 standards or whatever that joke is, right? From XKCD. That's a problem, but that problem is solved. Like, I look at Flatpak like a bridge in the same way, right? Of, like, you have this innovation happening on this underlying layer between all, like, now you've got like Cosmic, which is like this really cool desktop environment for Pop OS, and like now it's being adopted by Fedora and all these other folks, and it's like you just have these like different Lego blocks that are coming together, but they all work with Flatpak.
Oh,
it's
my
like
God,
bridging all of this stuff as far as the apps go. So it's like, I do think you start with this like, oh, why are you doing this different thing? And then you use something like Cosmic and you're like, oh, that's kind of better. Like, I like that better, but at least I can still keep using my apps, even though this is like a very different product than it was a few years ago. I don't know. That's the way I look at it, is the community kind of figures itself out in these situations.
Yeah. I don't worry about the protocol debates too much. I mean, Anuj, you mentioned like this is individual people and users, like it's human. We get tribal about certain things. This is Xbox, PlayStation fanboys. This is just like anything.
Right. They can coexist.
I mean, they can coexist, and also you're going to see the tribalism out there, and it just emerges naturally.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what the thing is, you're going to get people who wrap their identity up into this one versus that one.
Sony's
so
better.
Then you have the tribalism. It's fine. Like,
well said.
Like, I don't.
And that's
like Anuj said, most of the builders get together and are much less tribal. Like, when you've been down in the weeds for years, like, you realize everything sucks. Like, they each may suck in different ways, but nothing's perfect. And so, yeah, if like individual people like are tribal, whatever.
Well, but it would be great because you would know you succeeded by when the tribalness doesn't become which protocol should win, or the tribalness become Mastodon is better than GoTo Social. Like, you actually have full out defenders for those. To whatever's next, and because there always will be, right? When you really get to it, it's like, well, Mastodon, my Mastodon server, I know I could talk to you on Facebook, but my Mastodon server is better, and you're just like,
yeah. I mean, there's fiefdoms, right? Like, that's
it's always going to exist. It's at what level, and that you taught. Literally, the thing that came to my mind was System D. Everyone hated System D. And now the tribalism is everyone hates Wayland.
I was about to say Wayland is a great example of all of this.
What is the next one? Like, I can't wait to get to the next one where we've solved this problem and we're just over there.
Nix, maybe. Although Nix has been around for a while.
Yeah, Nix or Arch, like, which way is better? Maybe. I tried Nix and I'm just like, I am too old to relearn all of this shit. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. And that is like an old man saying to me, I'll just stick to Debian. I don't need to distro hop. Like,
yeah, I think you can go You can go like kind of compare a bunch of things and be tribal and whatever, or you can like go get shit done.
Right? Yeah.
That's such a great point, Ryan. Like, this is the thing that frustrates me about these conversations a lot is when and this is actually one of the reasons why I kind of leapt my way into this Bridgy Fed project with Ryan was like when the huge exoduses from X began,
Yeah.
a bunch of people were choosing Blue Sky.
Yep.
And I think instead of a curiosity, there was a lot of users on the Fediverse that were like, how dare they? And it was like, but this thing existed and they actively chose that. And you shouldn't, and instead of having the conversation of like, how dare they do that? The conversation should be like, dude, what did we not do right? How we've existed for this long and they didn't choose us. And what should we do better? We got to build this thing better in a way where Blue Sky can't be a option, a viable option. So like for me, it's like, yeah, you can do this tribalism stuff, or you can be like, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better?
Yes.
And maybe the answer is just,
yes,
I don't have money, or I haven't built the user experience properly, or whatever that conversation needs to be. But like, whenever you're like, I have this conversation with Bridgy Fed a lot, right? Where people are like, oh, I don't like this UI. And I could be like, how dare you? Ryan built this really cool infrastructure project. How dare you hate on Bridgy Fed? But instead,
I don't like you either.
yeah, but instead, like we
I
get
don't
feedback,
know.
and then
there was a
then we go build,
5-year-old
right?
kid that said that Blue Sky was better, and I punched him in the face. There you go, Ryan.
Productive, right? Like that he's probably setting up a Mastodon account as we speak because of that, right? It's just this. The thing that I was saying about Bridgy Fed is like we get that feedback, and sometimes there's this moment of frustration of like, how could you say that about this? But then you like sit down and you're like, yeah, you're probably right. And then we go and we build, right? A good example is we recently launched block lists. So you could adopt an at proto block list on your ActivityPub profile using Bridgy Fed. And that came from a conversation we had with John Pincus. And when he first came to me, I was like, this is a really cool project. I want to work on it. I don't know how important it is. And I kind of put it to the side, but I had the conversation with Ryan and I was like, hey, I think this is interesting. I don't know how important it is. Ryan figured out it wasn't that hard and we just went and built it, right? It wasn't this is something some people want. We're going to put it aside. It's an app proto thing. We don't have to care about it on the ActivityPub side. It was just like, you take that feedback, you let it marinate, you do the research and you're like, okay, this is doable. We should just go and do it. Right. Yeah. I don't know. Bonfire is a really good example of this. They do a bunch of stuff that isn't possible on ActivityPub and they've made it happen, albeit sometimes hacky. It works, right? They figured out portability of posts, even though it's not really possible on ActivityPub today. They've solved a bunch of these different problems that people thought were impossible and they've kind of worked around it. And they were like, instead of being angry that ActivityPub doesn't do this, we're going to do it in this really weird way for now until ActivityPub figures it out. And I think that that's a lot more productive than being angry about the other thing that exists.
And again, it's all in the open too. So let's say the next one that comes up is Bingo Boingle. They've solved a lot of problems. Let's see how far they go. Oh, they flamed out. The next one is this, and the next one is that. And we have the opportunity to try it all. Like, this is the first time you're able to get access to the buffet without having to switch fucking restaurants every single time. Right? Like, this is amazing. You guys blew my mind. God.
Overnight success.
God, it's so exciting. God, I love talking to people about it because it gets me so excited.
That's why we love your show. I mean, the energy and the enthusiasm. And this, again, like why I love working with Anuj too. I'm just like, I'm over here just trying to jam Lego blocks together, like grumbling and everything. And Anuj comes in and says like, no, this is great. We love it. It's important. Like there's so much of a bright future out there. And I'm looking up like, oh, it's more than just Lego. It's like, oh, okay.
I think this is one thing I over time realized about engineering is like when we build as engineers, we don't realize how many people depend on the stuff that we use every single day until someone complains or like specifically tells you. And like I often call it like the Bridgy Fed community, which is like, it's a weird thing to say because there's like 120K accounts on Bridgy Fed now. So it's like I wouldn't really call that. I always find it weird when like people are like the Facebook community, because it's like, what the hell does that mean?
I have
But-
told so many people that social media has skewed our numbers to reality.
Yeah, seriously, right?
100,000 people is a lot of people,
Yeah.
but not compared to Facebook.
And that's
Right?
fine.
It is
But-
nothing. No, but those matter, right? And you take that seriously.
Right. It's not, look, if I saw a room full of 120K people and they looked at me and they said, we're depending on you, right? Like that's stressful, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Yes, today we don't have them all in the same room. We have them all on the same infrastructure, right? It's a little different. But like, dude, that you would impact that many people if you shut down tomorrow, right? Like that shit matters. It matters to people.
Yeah.
And I've learned over the course of working with Ryan on this is like, there's people that not only use Bridgy Fed, like they deeply care about this product, like in a way that I actually didn't realize people did. I thought people just looked at it as like this cool little neat trick. Turns out people like deeply, deeply care about this thing and want it to exist and want it to expand and want more features and want this and that in a way that like, it's like, wow, we're like, this is,
you got
this
something
is core. It may not be 100 million users a day, but like, dude,
you don't need it.
It's like critical for people right now.
I think what I love is, yes, this is true. There are a lot of people who like deeply care about it and want new features and talk to us. There are also people who depend on it and kind of have no idea. Like we routinely, what my single favorite thing about building Bridgy Fed is I will see a conversation on a Mastodon instance or on Blue Sky or whatever, where people coming from 3 totally different networks, like bloggers, Fediverse people, and Blue Sky are all talking to each other in the same thread. They may not know. Like I expect sometimes some of them have no idea the other person isn't also on Mastodon or isn't also on Blue Sky or like multiple places. It's just working, right? And so that's like when we look at this people not platforms thing, we talk to each other and say, yeah, man, like it's working, it's great.
No, seriously. I think my favorite moment, and this is going to sound really weird, but one of my favorite moments for Bridgy Fed was when Eugen of Mastodon and Mike Masnick, who's a board member of Blue Sky, were arguing on between their AT Pro, like Mike Masnick was using his Blue Sky account, Eugen was using his Mastodon account, and they were arguing back and forth about which protocol does one thing right, or like it was an argument about protocols, right? And I was like, I think I like messaged Ryan. I was like, I think we won. Like this argument is happening across networks that technically
you did
aren't together, but like you were seeing like, and it wasn't just the two of them. There was like, like an online riot between these two communities, and it was all happening over Bridgy Fed. And people that cared about ActivityPub were posting on ActivityPub. People that care about AppProto were talking on AppProto, and they were just yelling at each other. And I was like, I think you're missing something. Like, if you pay attention to the way this conversation is working, you are,
oh my god,
like in a weird way, very wrong about your very strong opinion of which one is better, because both people are enjoying the thing that they're using.
Yeah.
And they're still able to communicate with you. And I think,
and it's transparent.
Take it one layer
they didn't even know.
Point.
That's.
I mean, I'm sure Eugen and Mike.
Oh, they knew,
like they
but
know
it didn't matter.
But if an average person was to look at this thing, they'd just be like, "Oh, it's just two people on Blue Sky arguing about what?"
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And that again, that people don't. I maybe the audience knows how big of a deal that is for the evolution of software. There's a software, when you start version A, you are very well aware that you are using it, right? And then by the time it gets to the point of it didn't matter, anyone can pick it up and use it. That's huge. Like, and I love how Anuj just sat there and went, yeah, we did that. Like,
no, I did. Like, I mean, Ryan did that to be. Like,
he did. No,
thing, right?
but you were you were actually so humble about that. Way more humble than you need to be, because again, we're on to the next level. Really, there's going to be something after TikTok that's going to start pulling more users away. And the generation today, if they know that it's even possible, you guys made it so it's even a thought in their mind that, yeah, these can all exist seamlessly.
Speaking of TikTok, I think the thing that I'm most excited about this week, because every week there's something else, but this week, Divine, which is the Rabble, who built Noster, rebuilt Vine on Noster, and average users are excited about it. And it's like, oh shit, right? This might be a moment where Blue Sky is doing some really interesting stuff. Mastodon doing like Bonfire is doing some interesting stuff. Mastodon Ghost is doing interesting stuff. Yeah. But they're all on these two protocols. And now there's a moment where it's like, there might be a bunch of average users. Maybe it's not going to be 100 million users or whatever, but there's going to be a cohort of users that are like stumbling their way into a decentralized protocol without realizing it.
Yep.
And it's like,
without realizing,
but that's the best way to do it, right? Like, here's a really cool product. Oops. Welcome, right? Like, I actually think that's really cool.
And that's literally how all the early web worked as well, right? Like, oh shit, here's eBaum's world. Never knew that was a thing. Here's Reddit. Right. Oh, well, now Reddit needs it. Like, that's.
But Blue Sky, I've kind of seen this a few times on Blue Sky, where people will just join Blue Sky because it's a thing. They won't realize it's on a protocol or won't care it's on a protocol. And then Blue Sky does something that they really dislike. And they're like, God, I hate that they did that. And then Rudy or someone from Black Sky will be like, well, we got this other option. And they'll be like, oh, how do I do this? And then they stumble their way into learning about this stuff. And then they migrate to Black Sky. And they're like, I still have my whole community and I can still do this thing. And I'm on a completely different stack. That's super cool. And like they accidentally figure this stuff out.
They will start expecting that as a feature.
Just show up and then like you figure it out, right? And I think this is why like whenever someone's building any of this stuff, I'm like, please don't mention a protocol. Like, I don't think they need to care about this stuff. And I think the moment you mention it's a protocol, they actually dislike it more. So you should just build the thing, let people use it, and then like they'll over time when they actually need the protocol tools, they'll figure, like, people aren't dumb, like they figure this stuff out. If people had an escape hatch from Twitter in the same way that they have on like Blue Sky or Mastodon or whatever, right, like they would have loved it, right? And so it's one of those things of like, let just people show up, and then let's just have the tools ready for that moment where they hate the thing that they joined, and then they'll learn it. They don't need to learn it today because they frankly shouldn't have to care.
If you
holy shit,
can you imagine, a new agentic AI startup coming out and announcing themselves and like, hey everyone, we're Bot Swarm, we're doing the newest thing, like we're great. You should like us because we use HTTP, or you should like us because we use JSON. Like, you'd look at them like they were crazy. What are you talking? Like, I mean, non-technical people would say like, what is that? I don't. And technical people would say like, that doesn't matter. Someday we'll get there with the open social web.
Yeah, the industry's moved on. Stop bringing up the old stuff that like we've solved.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all but central. Like, it uses this open standard, like, and it's so expected, and everything does that it's not a selling point. It's just like that's how it works, and eventually we'll get there.
No, and it's that's again, you're literally seeing history as it unfolds right now, because we've seen this time and time again, and it's an excellent point of people want freedom. They want this, right? Even if it is not on your platform, doesn't matter. We've gotten to the point I can exist on the same platform as you, off in my little woods, and that's how it should be. Everyone should get to that point. That is, and Anuj, you killed me because you've ruined 2 of my jokes now. I have no time to make new jokes, so you're just going to get them. I could keep talking to you guys for another hour and a half, if not longer. But
this is so fun. Yeah.
Now for the real reason I asked Anuj and Ryan here is to give them the opportunity to win a prize of a lifetime. Our prize today is a new protocol to join
God forbid.
all the others. We thought about just talking with the big tech companies about opening up to the open social web, but who's got time for that? Are you ready for the quiz, Ryan and Anuj? All right. Favorite movie and why is it Spaceballs?
Did you got a good answer?
Yeah, I got it. Howl's Moving Castle. It's like I don't even
Ooh.
have to think about it. I actually love that movie.
I
I think I've watched it like 30 times at this point. And I'm still not bored of it.
just saw it. I think the art is gorgeous. I love all of, I think it's Studio Ghibli, right?
Yeah, Miyazaki. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I never understand the stories. I don't know. They just miss me. They're beautiful movies. I'm very dense though. I think that's it.
They're just they take I find if like I kind of grew up on Studio Ghibli, so I think I'm used to like that.
Okay.
They the way that they shape their movies is very different than like your average like flow of how a film works.
Average American cartoon, which is what I grew up on.
Not just average American. Like I grew up on Bollywood too, and it's like there's like a specific shape movies and shows tend to take. And I think Studio Ghibli's like, here's just a bunch of beautiful art pieces back to back to back to back to back to back to back. More so than anything. And like there's a story, there's an underlying theme, and they're like trying to talk about important concepts as they go. But it's really not shaped in the same way as like your average film.
Well, and that's what it's like a geographical region, right? It's
right.
It's Japanese. They have different culture, different style. And I mean, hell, even anime. Like I know people are like, what is this? I don't get it. And I'm at the point where it's like, oh, I've been in it so long. I know how to define it and see it. So it's one of those. Okay, cool. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful movie. Go watch it. Ryan, what is your favorite movie? And why is it Spaceballs?
Well, it's Spaceballs, and it's Spaceballs because it's Spaceballs.
Is it?
No, but it's a good one. I would struggle to pick a single one. Let's see. Like American Beauty, Donnie Darko, kind of faux intellectual. Being John Malkovich, anything by, I forgot his name, the writer of that one was amazing. If you like comedy, I mean, History of the World Part 1 is just like timeless. Mel Brooks. There's so many good ones.
Wow. Okay. Very different answers. I love it. See, diversity brings us together. And I like Spaceballs.
Because it's Spaceballs.
Because it's Spaceballs.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
And there's going to be a Spaceballs 2. I'm excited.
Oh, wow.
Wait, is there
You guys didn't know that? So here's the, oh my God. I have the perfect story. I have the perfect story for you. Fuck. I am one of your users. I follow Mel Brooks' account on Blue Sky from my go-to social. I didn't even think about it.
Wait, is Mel Brooks bridged?
Mel Brooks is on Blue Sky.
And bridged.
Right. But he's bridged so you can follow him on go-to.
I swear.
Are you sure it's him?
Maybe it's a fake him.
Also good.
Official Mel Brooks bluesky.social. I swear. Let me double check. If I'm wrong.
If it says official, then it's definitely him.
Right. Maybe I didn't get him bridged. Shit. But I didn't even think that it was like, I'm at the layer of, I don't even have to think about setting up a bridge. I just try it.
Yep, totally. Love it. Oh, maybe it is him. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So. Oh, yeah, God.
No, pretty cool.
That's exciting. Sorry. Anyway. Next question is effects or affects?
Oh.
Yes.
I think of it as neither. I think of it as like like short E.
Effects. Yeah. It's like AE or I don't know.
What? It's funny.
You're not talking about the two different words, right?
I'm not talking about the words themselves. I love this. You two thought of that on such a different level as me. I love that. And I love when this happens because this is not this is not uncommon. My wife has told me my humor is very bad and unique, and I've never believed her. And some of my jokes,
faxes, like a fax machine, but on a computer, like e-fax?
No, not a fax machine. An effect or an affect.
Oh, those are two different things.
And Anuj said it depends, which I think he was on it. You misheard me, Ryan, but I think Anuj was on a different level.
Yeah,
I'm just asking in general. It's a bomb joke, so
like,
don't even worry about it.
Is cause and
One
effect.
thing,
Affect
right,
is like a mannerism, right? Or
yeah. That's why I was like, I don't know. I was like,
it's like a magical effect versus one after the other. Right?
It's like I
this
do
affects
like fried
that.
chicken and I like reading. So yes, right? Like it's like two completely different things.
Yes. Wow. Okay. I made myself laugh.
I think we failed that one, Anuj.
We failed that one hard. How's Moving Castle is my answer.
No, that was great. Okay. And this is the other reason I laughed earlier and cracked up laughing, because you said, let's stop talking about protocols. Activity pub, AT proto, or no stir.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
You're so adamant about not talking about him that I'm just like, well, I just stepped in the shit.
Oh boy.
You don't have to pick that. Like, I've told others, I seriously don't care who wins. I don't. I'm happy to be having the conversation. Like,
I mean, my answer is web mention, but that's just me.
That's probably the right answer if we're being honest with ourselves. Yeah, I'm not going to specifically answer that question, but if we can bridge it and bounce it, it's a good thing.
There you go. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
All of them. They all win.
If you're open and we can tap into it and we can connect across all of this stuff, I think that matters way more than what technology you chose. I think technology is just a tool to do this stuff.
It's interesting to see again where my humor is to the point where, like, I can't even joke about that. Like, it's serious. We're taking it serious, and that is so great. Like, and I love that. I love that so much.
But we can do both, right? Like, you gotta do yourself. Like, you can be serious about something and still see some humor in it. And if you can't, like, you gotta get outside and touch grass.
All right. Wow. Sorry, guys.
That was great. I love it.
No, this is awesome.
All right. What does an alternate universe Anuj and Ryan do?
Oh my God. Alternate universe. Can I think about Ryan? I'm going to throw you on this one first because you threw me on the movies one.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy for me. My last, like, quote unquote full-time gig that wasn't this, I was running the engineering org at a climate tech startup, and I still care a lot about climate crisis. I will.
Yes.
Yeah, at some point I'll probably end up going and working more on climate tech again.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
A bigger jump, alternate universe, I would be a concert pianist. I played classical piano forever. I still do. I played pretty seriously a while back. There are, maybe thousands of working concert pianists in the world who make a living from it. Maybe thousands, like maybe 10,000, maybe not. And so, like, that was going to be a tough gig to get.
It's, do you love the art or do you love to exist in the current world we live in? Right? Like, roll the dice. It's kind of a gamble.
And I think what happens there is, it's not that those, like, people give up on music altogether. They just mostly become teachers, which is fine. It's just a different job.
Yeah. It's hard to be a musician and make kind of like teacher, which should. Sorry, Anuj.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I used to do a bit of like music production, beat making in college. So, not kind of similar, not didn't, never good enough to make a lot of money off of it, because there's very rich producers nowadays, unlike back in the day, but like there's a lot more than there used to be. And so like I think if I was born in this generation, that would have been a lot more viable.
Wow.
I also just was never good enough to do that, but I enjoyed it a lot, so I would have loved to have double and triple down to it. But yeah, engineering is just kind of where I landed. Yeah,
That's interesting. Wow.
it's funny how many engineers did music in their past. Like I'm learning a lot of folks, especially in open source, like did a lot of music in their childhood or like in their later days. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, there is a lot of affinity. I think music and music theory and classical music, they are systems, just like engineering is systems.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the way it's interesting. I had this conversation with someone just a few months ago, Ryan, like, and they came to that same similar conclusion of like, it's math, right? Like that's really the way they looked at it, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. For something that we think like music, is so creative and floaty, like if you get into the nitty gritty, and again, especially classical jazz is another one, like the areas where there's a lot of structure, a lot of complexity, like it's very technical.
Yeah. My second answer is a coffee shop owner, but
nice.
Yeah.
Pretty much anyone in IT doesn't want to be in IT anymore is what I've learned from it. It's like, I'm tired. I'm tired, dude. Coffee shop sounds really nice.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Lumberjack. Yeah.
Well, you guys had such beautiful answers. So once again, I feel like an absolute ass, but I reached out to an alternate universe, Ryan and Anuj, on my alternate universe phone here. It looks like it's a keyboard with missing a key, but it's really not. It's an alternate universe phone. And they said that they started a social media site called Anuj Social, and only those named Anuj could be on it. The problem was it exploded, and everyone is named Anuj now.
I hear people are getting their names changed just to join.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Mostly because it's very hard to, when you go into a store and they have like the magnets with people's names on them. As a kid, I always wanted one of those, and obviously they never had my name on it. So I'd always pick up the one that was like J or AJ because it's like similar to my name.
Okay.
So in a world where I can find my name on a magnet from a random dollar shop, it's kind of neat. I like it.
I have good news. The domain anuj.social is available. We can go get it for $10.
Oh my Lord. I'm going to go buy it now, actually. I'm going to have to go buy it now.
Of course, we're some of those where we collect and hoard domains now. Man. It's the new Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I have ozoned.
I love that you looked it up.
I have ozoned.net, so take that. It is not as good as a .social, right? Like,
oh no, I mean .com, .org, .net, those are the gold standard. Maybe .io is up there now, but
talk about tribalism, because like again, people don't like. Businesses haven't learned that people don't care yet. Like, no, I need to get my .com name. It's like no one gives a shit. Get over it.
I mean, if they're even on a website at all and not on an app, like, I feel that's already winning,
Yeah. Oh God. Sorry.
Yeah, just owning a domain is like, oh wow, so you're like kind of one of us. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everyone's always surprised by that. You have that domain? Yeah. It's $5 a year. Like, because you got to put in your email for your receipt at places. Now, God, do I sound old? I hate it. I hate it. It's awful. Give me a fucking receipt, please. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Anyway, the next question I'm gonna fuck up somehow. Bridges, ferries, or tunnels?
Oh.
I love a good ferry ride. I do. In Washington, we have a lot of ferries, so I'm a fan.
I don't know if I've ever been on a ferry, but you guys have Bridgy Fed.
We do.
Rich.
As an
But Bounce is
engineer, like,
kind of a fairy. You know,
yeah, there we go. Okay, you're working hard. I like it.
Ooh, there's a thought. So then are tunnels where the big social medias all joined together and built their own protocol and refused to let anyone in it?
oh god.
It's not much of a
That's-
protocol if you don't let
that's a-
anyone in.
I was gonna
Other-
say that's not
anyone-
much of a, yeah.
Well, I mean, like an interdisciplinary or protocol. So Twitter to Facebook to TikTok to, you know, whatever, like, and they keep it a centralized. Is that a tunnel because no one can access the tunnel from this side? I don't
mean-
know. I do not think on the level of you, gentlemen.
This is what we had with the instant messaging networks, 20 years ago, AOL and Yahoo connected or something,
Yeah.
different examples there. Yeah.
No, that's an excellent point. So ferries, have I ever been on a ferry? Yes, I guess technically I have. Anyway. Sorry.
These are fun. I like these.
Oh God. As usual, the last question will be sent telepathically to Anuj and Ryan. I'll send you the question. I feel so stupid, dude. I'll send you the question. And you take your time and let me know what the answer is. All right. Are you guys ready? Here it comes. All right. So there's the question.
Hard one. I say vinyl.
Vinyl. Wow. Okay. Okay. Ryan, what's your answer?
Let's see. Turkey sandwich.
Turkey. How? That's amazing. So what was the question you guys got that Anuj, you thought vinyl, and Ryan, you thought turkey sandwich?
Which
What
music
is
are we
it?
going to eat for lunch?
Yeah. For me, it was what are you going to be pretentious about after while eating lunch? And yeah. And
Wow.
apparently his turkey sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations. You got every answer either correct or incorrect.
Or
Good
Spaceballs.
job. And again, I have to laugh because we talked about this earlier, but unfortunately, XKCD pointed out to us that this would just be yet another standard that the folks at A New Social would have to work on bringing into the fold. So we're not going to be able to give you your prize. If anyone remembers it, it was a new protocol to join all the other protocols together. But thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I hope I didn't embarrass myself too much. It was amazing talking to you guys. I'm seriously insanely excited to see where you guys go, and also very grateful to have been able to talk to you guys and know who's behind the wheel.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been so much fun. Thank you for having us on, Anthony. You have a
This
great
was
show,
great.
and we were really excited to be here.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. This was a lot of fun.
This was amazing for me. Thank you guys so much. And thank you to everyone out there on the Fediverse. You guys are what makes this work. You're the reason. And the Fediverse isn't just Mastodon. It's not just GoToSocial. It's not just Blue Sky. It's